Okay, so today we're looking at lesson 10-5. Today's learning intention is I will learn how to find surface area and volume of spheres. Let's go ahead and take a minute and get that down. Okay, right here it says a sphere is a round, solid geometric figure with every exterior point equidistant from the center. Okay, so there's going to be a center point and which goes out. Okay, so one of the very first things we probably learned growing up as a sphere was probably like our planet. Like in textbooks and things, we'd always talk about how planet Earth is a sphere. Or the other thing is like balls are spheres. Okay, and if we look at our formulas, we notice we don't have lateral area this time. Lateral area, if you think about it, is when we had a base, and like for prisms, we had the rectangular faces. That was the lateral area. And when we had cones and pyramids, you'd have the base, we'd have like the triangular faces. Well, we don't have that with this sphere. It's round, so we only have surface area. Okay, and then we have volume, because you can still try to calculate how much you would fill it with, whatever it might be, water, rice, whatever you would put in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and name some of the parts. Once again, it is a circular shape, so it's going to have a radius. And when you go all the way across, we're still going to have a diameter. Okay? And this is just showing the circle like that is all the way around it. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into number one. Number one says find the surface area and volume of the sphere with a diameter of 7 3/4 inches. So let's see, it's giving us the diameter, and diameter, if we remember, is all the way across. Okay, so our diameter is 7 3/4. Well, it's going to be easier if we have this in decimal form, and the way we would do this is just 7, and if you take that 3 and divide it by 4, it's 0.75. So this is the same as 7.75, our diameter. Okay? And if we look at surface area, our formula has a radius in it. So we need a radius of this. So if we take 7.75 and divide it by 2, that's what's going to give us our radius. So like we learned, radius is half of the diameter. So from here to here, our radius is 3.875. Okay, now we're just plugging into the formula. So formula is 4 pi r squared. So it's 4 pi. Our radius is, let me finish this, 3.875. Okay, and if you just go ahead and plug that into your calculator, you should come up with the surface area. Okay, what'd you guys get? Anybody come up with it? I got 188.6. And let's see, my unit is inches, and this is still a type of area, so it's inches squared. Okay, so let's look at volume. My formula for volume is 4/3 pi r cubed this time. So we're going to have 4/3 pi radius of 3.875 cubed. And if you punch it in your calculator just like this, and you can even use a parentheses, and if you put this in like 4 divided by 3, you should come up with it. So I want everybody to punch this in, make sure we're getting the right number, and if you're not, you need to let me know so I can come around and help you, and we can get it straightened out now. And when you're punching cubed in, we don't have a cubed key like we have our squared key. There's a little caret key that looks like this. And then you put to the third. Okay, so if you need help finding it, let me know. Everybody good? Find it? Everybody good? Caret key to the third. Okay, I came up with, so finding the volume would be 4/3 pi radius cubed. Okay? And plugging in my radius, which is what I meant to do, would be the 3960 cubed. Okay, when we put this in, we're going to come up with a really big number, and it's going to be so big our calculators probably cannot hold it. Okay, so let's go ahead and try and see what we come up with. 4 over 3 pi, 3960, and remember cubed is using that little caret key to the third. And you're going to get a number, and it's going to say like 2.6. Did everybody come up with that? I want to make sure you're finding it so we figure this out. It's going to look something like this. It's going to say 2.6012026, and then it's going to say e to the 11. E11. You guys get that? When it comes up with this, what it means is the number is so big our calculators can't hold it. So the real number is you move your decimal place over 11 spaces. Okay? So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? So this would be 26012. 0252600. Go back and put my commas in. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And this is miles cubed. Okay? So, once again, the surface area would be like if you were taking fabric and covering the outside of it. Okay? It would take this many miles squared. Okay? The volume is filling the inside, so this is how much space it's taking up. Okay? Miles cubed. Pretty big number. Any questions on how to read the scientific notation part of it? Okay, are we good? Okay. I don't know if we'll have any more. I don't think you have any problems on your homework that deal with a number that big, but now we know how to read them. All right, let's dive into number 3. Okay, number 3 is asking for surface area and volume again, but what you notice is you have half a sphere. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to find the surface area of a sphere, and then would it make sense to divide it in 2? Does that make sense if we have half of one? But the catch is we have this base down here. We have a base down here that we're going to find the surface area separate. And if you look at my base, what do I have here? I'm holding up this sphere, and what kind of base do I have? What is this? A circle, yes. Okay? And it's a whole circle. So the circle is not in half, only the sphere. Does that make sense? So it's like when we did cones, our base was a circle. We found the area of the base. Okay? But the sphere part, there's only half of it. Okay? So we're going to use the formula for half a sphere, divide it by 2, find the area for half the base, but we're not going to divide it because it's the whole circle, and add them together. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So our formula for sphere is this guy up here. So this is going to be 4 pi, our radius, and does it give us a radius over here? It does. It's 12, and it's squared. So if we go ahead and put this in our calculator and see what we get get 4 pi 12 squared, and I get a number like this, 1809.6 if I round it. Okay? Then we said we only have half of it, so we're going to take this number and divide it by 2, and I get a number like 904.8. Okay? Then we talked about the base, and the base is still a whole circle, like when we used to find the base of a cone. And if we remember, how did we find the area of a circle? Anybody remember? on your formula card. Pi r squared, okay? So we're going to have pi, our radius is 12, squared, and we get pi 12 squared, and I get a number like 452.4 when I round it. So this is the area of the sphere part. This is the base. I'm going to simply add these together to get my total surface area. So 904.8 plus 452.4, and I get 1357.2, and it doesn't give me units, so this is units squared. Okay, any questions on that? All right, so now looking at volume. So if I hold this sphere up, the volume is filling the inside of it. Okay, so we can actually take the formula we have for volume, and it would be like filling a whole sphere. We have half of one. So for this formula, we could just divide it by 2. Okay, so we're going to start with our formula, and we have 4 over 3 pi. Our radius is 12, and this is cubed. Okay, so if we go ahead and punch this on our calculator, 4 divided by 3, pi 12, and remember to get the cube, it's the little caret to the third, and I get a number like this, 77,238.2. But remember, this is only half of it, so we need to take this number and divide it by 2. So 77,238 divided, 0.2 divided by 2, and I get a number like 3,619.1, and this is units cubed. Any questions on that? Okay. On your homework, you're going to get a similar problem, only it's not cut in half, it's cut in fourths. Okay. So what you're going to do on your homework is you're going to figure the area of the whole thing, and this time we divided it by 2. On your homework, because it's in fourths, it's a quarter, you're going to divide it by 4. Okay? And then the base, because we still have this whole base here, we didn't cut it in half. But on your homework, it's only going to be half of it. So on your homework, you're going to divide this part by 2 and add them together when you get to that problem. Okay? All right. Moving on. Number 4. The circumference of a soccer ball is 27.65 inches. A, find the radius. Okay, so our circumference formula is not up here, but you do have it on your formula card, and I'm hoping we're getting some of these memorized by now. So the formula for circumference we learned is 2 pi r or pi d. You can use it either way, and we're going to solve for radius. We're going to find the radius, so we're going to plug in what we know. We know that the circumference, or the C, is 27.65. 2 is part of our formula. Pi is part of our formula. We're solving for r. We don't know what this guy is. We're going to find out. Okay? So the first thing we do, trying to get these things by himself, is we can divide by the 2, right? And if we divide this 27.65 divided by 2, I get 13.825. And I'm just going to cross that 2 out, because do we understand that I divided this side by 2 and this side by 2? Do we all get that? And that leaves me with pi radius. Okay, so chiseling away, what's my next step to get my radius by himself? Get rid of pi. Very good. And we do that by dividing. And if I do it to this side, I got to do it to this side. Okay, so my radius is now, these cancel, it's 13.825 divided by pi. And I think if we all do it right, we should get a number if we round to the nearest tenth. We should come up with a number like this. Okay, is it good? All right. So now it says how much leather is needed to cover the ball. Okay, so remember when I was talking about the earth and how much fabric it needed to cover it? What were we finding? What was that for? Yes, the surface area. So that's the formula we're going to use. The surface area is 4 pi r squared. And now we're going to plug in what we know. Okay? So we're trying to solve for surface area, so that we don't know. 4 is part of our formula. We do know the radius is 4.4, and the surface area is squared. Okay? So plugging this into our calculator, you should get a number, and this is 243.3 inches squared. How much leather? So we would put of leather. Okay, so to cover a ball, you would need 243.3 inches squared of leather to cover it. Okay, how much air is in the ball when inflated? So that's filling it, right? How much space, what are we taking up on the inside of it, okay? So that's going to be volume, and our formula for volume is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So let's plug in what we know. We are solving for V. 4/3 is part of our formula. Pi, our radius is up here, 4.4, and this is cubed. So when we punch this in our calculator, we should get a number, and if everybody wants to check to make sure you're doing it right, 356, is it 0.8? Is that what you guys got? 0.8? Good, okay. Inches cubed of air. All right, any questions on how we did those? Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Let's look at number 5. Okay, this time it's giving us volume. Okay, the volume is 972 pi feet cubed. Find the surface area. Okay, so it's giving us volume, find surface area. Well, what is the common variable that we need to help us find surface area? R, radius. So if we use the formula for volume, to solve for R, we can now plug R in to solve for surface area. Okay? So let's plug in what we know. It says volume equals 972. 4/3 is part of our formula. Pi is part of our formula. We are solving for radius. Okay? All right. If we can remember back when we have a fraction like this and we want to get rid of it, what can we do to get rid of this fraction? Yeah, times it by its reciprocal on both sides. Okay? So if we do that over here, this would be like 3 times this divided by 4. It'd be like if I took this number and put it over 1. Okay? So 3 times 972 divided by 4, I get 729. Okay? So when I did this, this caused this and this to cancel, so I'm left with pi radius cubed. Okay, what do you think my next step is? Divide by what? Okay. And I messed up, guys. I forgot to put my pi behind this number right here. Okay? I forgot to put my pi behind that number. Okay? So before we get down to this, we also could have divided by what? Pi, to get the pi's to cancel out. I apologize. So if we would have divided by pi on both sides, the pi's would have canceled out. Does that make sense? Are we still on the same page without me going through all? Okay, good. So back to my number. I did have the right number. 729 equals, now we're down to radius cubed. Sorry about that. When I was looking at it, I knew I did something wrong, and it's because I forgot this pi right here. So we really need to check ourselves with that. All right, this is something we haven't seen before, I don't think, in here. Because what did we do to get rid of a square? Square root it. But we don't have a square, we have a cube. So, believe it or not, there is something called a cube root. And it is made like this. And maybe I'll make this one a little neater so we can see it better. It's called a cube root. And the trick to putting this in our calculator is if you put this number, 729, and I'm going to write exactly how you do it. 729, and then use your caret key, caret, put a parenthesis, and put 1 divided by 3. So 729, caret, 1 divided by 3. And you should get r equals 9. Any questions on how to put that cube root in your calculator? Because this is the opposite of that. This is taking the cube root if you type it like this in your calculator. Any questions on that? Are we good? All right. Let's look at number 6. Okay. Oh, wait, we're not finished. We need to find the surface area. We did all that work. We have our radius. We need to find our surface area. Okay, so surface area is 4 pi, and r, my radius is 9 squared. So now with the information we have, we should be able to come up with the surface area. Let's punch that into our calculator and see what we get. And I'm going to change these to approximation marks. And I get a number like 243.3 inches squared. And this is going to be of leather. Okay, any questions on that? We all come up with the same thing? Okay, very good. So number 6, the sphere has a volume of 36 pi. What is the surface area? Draw a sphere and label it using numbers 26 and 27 on your geometer. So I want everybody to look at your geometer if you have it. If not, you can freehand it with me. Or find something circular to trace. I'm going to freehand mine. Well, I might be able to get it here. I struggle with holding my thing up to my computer sometimes. Okay. So 26, and then 27 is like this. And I'm holding my geometer up, so I'm hoping yours will be neater than mine. Okay, 26 and 27. Okay. All right, so it gives us the volume. We're going to do the same thing, okay? We're going to use volume to find R and then plug R back in. So it tells me that the volume is 36 pi. I remembered my pi this time. Okay, my formula is 4 over 3 pi radius, and that's what we're solving for, cubed. Okay? All right, so we know starting to get these things by himself, we can either do the 4/3 first or the pi first, but if we divide pi to both sides, they're going to cancel. Do we get that? If I divide this side by pi, I divide this side by pi, they're going to cancel. Does that make sense? Over here, I'm also going to times this side by, the reciprocal, which is 3 over 4 and 3 over 4. And this is going to be like taking 3 times 36 divided by 4, be like if I put that over 1. So 3 times 36 divided by 4, and I get 27. Okay? And these cancel. That's what our goal was. So I'm left with, once again, radius cubed. And this is where we do the cubed root again. Okay? So do we remember how to put it in our calculator? Okay, and we should get, yeah, very good, 3, a radius of 3. Now that we have that, we're going to use it to find our surface area. And so surface area is 4 pi, our radius, which is 3, squared. So just punching that in our calculator, we come up with, if your calculator leaves it in terms of pi, it might. If it leaves it in terms of pi, it's going to look like this. And then if it does that, if you hit the little arrows that we talk about at the bottom, it'll turn it into the decimal version, and you would get, okay? Because let's think about it. We can leave it in terms of pi, but like up here, if I told you I need 36 pi inches of leather, would that really help me or help you? No. So having something like this is what's going to help us know something like that. All right? Okay. Any questions?